Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a great day. As always, a free way to support the channel is by leaving a like, by leaving a comment, or by subscribing if you have not already done so. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. Today's video, I think, is something that a lot of people need to hear. You need to understand that this is being done on purpose. This is not haphazard. This is not random. This is not simply occurring on a regular basis because somebody decided to announce something. You are purposely not supposed to be in this market. You are supposed to actually be paying attention to anything else that's not the cryptocurrency space. We are currently witnessing I dare say it's a line between the hyper Bitcoinization and the cryptoization of the entire world. Everything is becoming digitized, and we are currently in the midst of seeing the rise of this brand new asset class. However, at the same exact time, while this asset class is rising, the richest of the rich on this planet explicitly believe that it is just for them. And I know that sounds crazy. I know it even sounds a little tinfoil hatty. For those of you who were not here at the beginning of this year, you might remember, or may not remember at all, the Wall Street Bets event. And I'm going to brush over this very quickly just to give you an idea of exactly what's currently taking place. At the beginning of this year and the end of last year, as tons and tons of people were making enormous amounts of money from the AMC/GameStop stock event that was taking place because of Wall Street Bets, a lot of everyday normal people were making really good money. And this is over the course of them losing their jobs because of 19 and not having the stimulus check was, $1,200 is great, but it doesn't really go that long when your rent is $1,500. What happened is a lot of people made really good money. And I say good money as far as like they had no jobs, but they were still making $45,000 from GameStop going up. There are other people who made $15,000 and people were using this money, yada, yada. What happened is that the purpose of GameStop stock at that point was that there were hedge funds, very rich people who wanted to crash the value of that so that they could make money by shorting it, basically betting against it so that they could make money on the flip side. What happened is the stock went up and didn't go down as the hedge funds expected. The hedge funds lost money, and everyday normal people who should not have been in the market or touching that stock at all made really good money. So what happened is that regulators stepped in and started saying, hey, why are all you poor people in the market? We need more regulations. We need to make sure that something like this event does never take place again. Why do you think that is? It's because the financial market is not NOT. It is not made for normal people. Over the course of the last couple of years, I've been into crypto for a while. It's been since 2013, 2014, somewhere around there. I've been scared a number of times of being in this market because of the news that I read, but then eventually you kind of get the pattern and realize that it all happens on purpose. They do these things to make sure that when you're in the market, that you leave the market very quickly. This is also taking place right now. And I'm gonna tell you the actual timeline of things just so you understand that this is it's not even that history is repeating itself or is rhyming, it's that these people are doing whatever they can to make sure that you exit the market as quickly as possible. And the shame is that it actually works. The most recent reports that we have been receiving have been from, and I dare air quote this, from Elon Musk and others who are trying to get people, this is my opinion on this part, who are trying to get people out of the cryptocurrency market because of Bitcoin's high energy consumption and Bitcoin so-and-so, and therefore people should not be into Bitcoin. I made another video on this on my other channel where I basically discussed in the entire video the actual numbers of energy consumption for Bitcoin. A lot of people will show you charts as to the amount of energy consumption for Bitcoin, and they'll show you an Apple uses this much energy. Your computer uses this much energy, and then they'll show you a gigantic chart where Bitcoin, and they go, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. Part of the problem is there are certain states and cities within America that use more energy than Bitcoin probably ever will. And then you talk about the actual, the car industry and how much they use for energy consumption. The point is, There are many other industries that use a lot more electricity, and Bitcoin, I think it's around like 60-something% of Bitcoin is actually being created through renewable sources. The problem is a lot of people left Bitcoin and got out of it because they assumed that something was wrong with Bitcoin because Muskie and his friends decided to say so. So here's the actual timeline, just to let you understand exactly how all this has been happening. In 2016, the main discussion was blockchain, not Bitcoin. The news was from a number of prestigious banks that people should not be into Bitcoin at all and should be focusing more on Bitcoin, should not be into Bitcoin and should be into blockchain, as blockchain is the underlying technology, and therefore if we can build that up, well, no one really needs Bitcoin. Part of the problem is that nearly every single bank in 2016 who made sure to note that blockchain was better than Bitcoin is now into Bitcoin. The entire phrase blockchain, not Bitcoin, has completely disappeared because they've understood, since a lot of the banks actually admitted, so did the New York Stock Exchange and the NASDAQ, that they've been into Bitcoin since 2014. Seems kind of weird, right? In 2017, the idea was the bubble of all bubbles. 2017 was a bit of a mess. As Bitcoin's price began to rapidly rise, the price predictions that we had for 2017 for Bitcoin ranged anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000. By the time we got over $10,000, there were a number of countries, you might remember this, who were announcing that they were going to ban Bitcoin. One of them did. It was China. And then the other thing that they had to focus on was the ICO Mania. That was the initial coin offerings. People figured out very quick that they could launch their own coins. A number of them were quite fraudulent, but the other side of it is that people realized that they no longer had to go through a stock exchange to be able to list their stock. If a company was launching and they wanted to launch something that was attached to them, they could launch a new cryptocurrency coin, do it as an ICO, and kind of not really have to wait for a year and a half or 2 years for regulatory clarity. However, this caused a bit of a flurry in our markets because regulators realized that their significance as regulators was beginning to disappear, and therefore they had to do something against it. This was also a direct segue into 2018. You might remember this, when the market crashed. We were told to all go home. Bitcoin was never coming back. Bitcoin had dropped. That was the end of it. Do you know why it happened? You might remember this. We had about 16 countries, about 2 a week, if not 1 every other day, very close to each other, began to announce in rapid succession that they were all going to ban Bitcoin. Bitcoin was terrible. We can't have anyone using it. No one should be in this market. It's absolutely terrible. You should be using our terrible paper money as opposed to using this brand new thing that would probably give you some type of economic freedom. The really annoying part, once again, is in 2018, the same banks, the same institutions, and even some of the same countries who announced this actually were getting into Bitcoin at that time. A number of banks and institutions announced that they got into cryptocurrencies around 2018. How weird it is that they got into cryptocurrencies and were buying Bitcoin when they told everyone else not to do it. But once again, this worked. This caused a number of people to leave the market. You might also remember as well, you can find this news. It was at the end of 2017, when Bitcoin's price was going really high. We were having a lot of price predictions that Bitcoin's price was going to pass by $30,000 and maybe even $42,000 were kind of the highest numbers that we had. However, Bitcoin futures were allowed to skirt around very quickly through the regulatory regime, if you kind of want to use that word. And we got Bitcoin futures. Part of the problem with the Bitcoin futures was we were told that they were actually allowed to go through so that people could actually bet against the price of Bitcoin. Because if we saw institutions getting into the cryptocurrency space, people would follow their direction. And can you guess what all these institutions did? They bet against the price of Bitcoin, which caused everyone else to bet against the price of Bitcoin, which caused countries to say, hey, Bitcoin's evil and terrible and no one should be in it. And Bitcoin's price fell down from $20,000 to $3,000 in a coordinated move. It liquidated, got out of the market. A good 80% plus of the brand new people who got into the market, they left. You might have also noticed around that time all the big fancy YouTube channels also disappeared because they had no way to hype up the market anymore. Lo and behold, our market returned. Anyway, In 2019, it became the advent of central bank digital currencies, usually referred to as CBDCs. The entire idea became to scare you out of the market. We no longer need Bitcoin because we're going to have our own digital currencies. A lot of banks and institutions once again began to clamor and say, there's no need for Bitcoin because normal people, all they want are digital payments. So let's give them digital payments. Let's digitize our dollars and our yens and our euros and everything else that's out there. And this will be the new thing. There's no need for a Bitcoin anymore because all money is digital. Around the same exact time, that's when Facebook decided that they were also going to be creating their own new coin as well. And institutions, governments completely lost their mind because, this was the advent of the corporation coins, many of which, if they had launched, would have been bigger than the US dollar. And this is also the beginning of the time when Jamie Dimon, who is the CEO of JP Morgan Chase, one of the largest banks on the planet, began to say that Bitcoin was a fraud. He's actually been saying that since 2017. He said other not so friendly words, but the Bitcoin is a fraud became associated with Jamie Dimon. The really interesting part is that we had news that all these banks started getting into crypto in 2017. So funny that in 2019, Bitcoin's a fraud, but you've been buying up Bitcoin for the last couple of years. Last year, this one was very big as well. It was the rise of crypto crime. A number of institutions and banks and governments began to announce that people who were into crypto were into crime. That they were, you can find this as well, that they were lowlives using Bitcoin for scams and to launder money. That became a very big thing. A lot of people were announcing and reporting, especially people within the cryptocurrency space, that as they were trying to travel earlier in the year, they were getting stopped a lot and they were asked how much Bitcoin did they have? How much Bitcoin do you have on you? Which is also nonsense because it's on a blockchain. It was because a lot of people began to say that Bitcoin was only used for illicit activities. We had a number of banks and institutions and Warren Buffett who began to say that Bitcoin was funny money and not real money. You have to understand, I know these things sound ridiculous or pretty dumb even as we talk about them again, because the idea of calling something funny money just sounds stupid. These things work. They scare people. They get these people thinking, especially people who are on the fence, who have wanted to get into the cryptocurrency space. They begin to, if you're standing in the middle and you hear people, hey, you can make tons of money, but you see that the price keeps dropping and the price drop is attributed to Elon Musk, to Jamie Dimon, to old man, Warren Buffett, and all these other people. It terrifies people who would otherwise be in our market, and it works very well. Part of the problem is that if you watch this channel and my other channel, all the time, the same exact people who were calling Bitcoin a farce or terrible or funny money or used for money laundering or is absolutely horrible, blockchain, not Bitcoin, are all into Bitcoin. They're all mining Bitcoin, they're all buying Bitcoin, they're associated with the space in some sort of way. And a lot of them even now are trying to get regulatory clarity from the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, within the United States to be able to hold Bitcoin legally. That's the terrible part. So this year, with banks explicitly realizing that Bitcoin is here to stay, the new phrase, a la Musk, is that Bitcoin consumes too much energy. This is being done explicitly to stop people from buying Bitcoin. We've seen the diversion before and it's happening once again. This is why I believe that there's so much discussion around Dogecoin. It's not that I don't believe that Dogecoin is amazing or super adorable or whatever people need to say, but it's being done as a distraction. We've had these distractions before a couple of years ago in the past when we had the creation of Bitcoin Cash, or Bitcoin Cash Satoshi's Vision, or Bitcoin Gold, or Bitcoin Diamond, or Bitcoin Blue, or Bitcoin Red, or Litecoin Lite, which is also a coin, or many other coins that got forked off of other coins. These are distractions from stopping people from buying Bitcoin. Part of the problem is, once again, all these banks and institutions are buying up all the Bitcoin as other people are now paying attention to other things. The other discussion that we've had this year is now, as well is the launch of CBDCs, the central bank digital currencies. They are here. More of them are coming, and people are going to be told and are being told by governments, because we go over this at least twice a week, that this is what they should be buying, this is what they should be investing in, and that this is going to cause, what's the word that they use? It's not economic prosperity, but it's something along the lines of an ease of use of payments for the common consumer, so that money can flow around the world quicker. Nope. Central bank digital currencies are going to be digitized versions of the money that we have right now, which are already garbage. Just thought I'd make this video because I hate the word FUD, can't stand it. It stands for fear, uncertainty, and doubt, but this is always what's being pushed into our market. Every single day, all the time, you may have noticed our prices dropped when Elon Musk announced that Bitcoin uses too much electricity. You know the news that came out 3 days later after the prices dropped? It was that institutions and other rich people and family offices had bought a whole bunch of Bitcoin during the drop. So always keep that in mind. You are not meant to be in this market, but you're probably glad that you are, especially if you've been here as long as I've been making videos. I do hope you all enjoyed. I do hope you all are having a great day, a great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope that it is absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching and or listening, and I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.